families, 100,000 people who had friends, millions who will be affected by that number, but each of them is of infinite value in the sight of God.
Justin Welby says the daily prayer will take place at 6 p.m. local time starting tomorrow, inviting everyone of any faith or none. Vicki Barker, CBS News.
WWL First News. I'm Tom Perumian on your official weather station, WWL AM, FM, and .com.
Showers moving in this morning, by this afternoon it all clears out, but we'll see some sunshine and temperatures still fairly mild. We'll get to the low 70s by around lunchtime, and then the colder air finally arrives, dropping into the 60s later this afternoon.
Your local weather expert, WWL TV meteorologist Kate Malone, will be along with your full weather forecast. The 93,000 vaccine doses allotted for nursing home residents and staff in the state, only 30% have been administered. WWL's Jeff Palermo reports.
State Health Officer Dr. Joe Cantor says Walgreens and CVS are overseeing the vaccine program, and so far they've received good reviews. As for residents and their first dose,
I'm encouraged that the uptake rate amongst nursing home residents so far is about 69%.
But only 26% of staff have begun the first of 2 doses. Cantor feels that will change when vaccine personnel make their second and third visits. By February 8th, all facilities should have completed their first vaccination visit. I'm Jeff Palermo.
Meanwhile, could a new variant of the coronavirus be found in the United States be resistant to vaccines? WWL's Paul Dudley has the latest.
A new strain of the coronavirus could be partially resistant to existing vaccines. The South African.
Okay, everybody's on board now.
Good. South Carolina, from separate parts of the state, cases of coronavirus variants have been reported in 28 states. 3 cases of the strain from the UK variant have been found in Louisiana. So far, scientists say that the vaccines are effective against all of the new strains, but early studies show that that may not be the case for the South African strain. Both Pfizer and Moderna have started developing booster shots for that variant of the virus.
And whether you're going downtown or out of town, you need to mask up.
In coronavirus coverage, a new rule is now in effect that makes refusing to wear a mask on public transportation a violation of federal law. The mandate follows an executive order President Biden announced the day after his inauguration. Officials say masks on transportation must cover the mouth and nose, and the rule forbids makeshift masks like scarves and bandanas. The move comes with the appearance of new and more contagious COVID-19 variants, first seen in the UK, Brazil, and South Africa.
Meanwhile, Senators Bill Cassidy and John Kennedy will join with 23 other Republican senators in requesting a meeting with President Biden over concerns involving his recent oil and gas policy. We get the story from WWL's Chris Miller.
University of Louisiana political science professor Pearson Cross says he expects President Biden will take the meeting.
I mean, he's doing something that clearly impacts the constituents of their states, and certainly he doesn't want to alienate a sizable portion of the Republican group in the Senate.
In his first 2 weeks in office, Mr. Biden canceled the permit for the Keystone XL pipeline and issued a moratorium on new oil and gas leases on federal lands and waters. Moves Louisiana's delegation says will cost jobs.
And now the forecast from your local weather expert, WWL TV meteorologist Hayden Malone.
Showers will move through the area early Sunday morning, but then that cold front clears us on out. We'll see some sunshine this afternoon. The colder air lagging behind the rain, though, will still get to around 70 degrees. As we head into tonight, some more clouds return. It will be chilly on Monday, highs only getting into the mid-50s. And unfortunately, it looks like we'll be fighting some clouds once again. Some sunshine trying to come out, though. As we go into Monday night, a light freeze north of the lake, upper 30s in the New Orleans metro Tuesday morning. Tuesday afternoon, it'll stay chilly, highs only getting into the mid-50s. From your local weather expert forecast center, I'm WWL TV meteorologist Peyton Malone.
And I'm Tom Perumian, WWL First News.
The following is a paid program. The views and advice expressed are not that of WWL or Intercom Louisiana, LLC. Assessing a person's legal matter often requires extensive interviews, review of contracts and documents, and research of the current state of the law and the issues involved. As a result, the information provided by the attorneys and guests of All Things Legal is given for informational purposes only. It is not to be construed as legal, tax, investment, or other professional advice. Communications with the attorneys on this program, whether verbal or digital, do not create an attorney-client relationship. From WWL, the news, talk, and sports powerhouse of the Gulf South, it's All Things Legal with Doug Sunseri and Albert Nicaud. Paid for by Nicaud and Sunseri Law Firm. Call or text 504-260-1870 or join us anytime, anywhere on the radio.com app. Now, to our Jefferson Financial Federal Credit Union studios in the heart of New Orleans, here are attorneys Albert Nicaud and Doug Sunseri.
Hey, good morning, Doug Sunseri, Albert Nicaud, your weekend lawyers, all things legal. Give us a call, 260-1870, or you can text us on our Facebook page, Nicaud and Sunseri, and we'll be glad to respond to your question. Good morning, Albert.
Hey, Doug, what's going on this morning?
Oh, man, with some rough basketball yesterday. Did you watch LSU and Pelicans?
No, I heard LSU blew it at the end, and I did not watch the Pelicans. We were out to dinner.
The Tigers were up 71-64 with about 48 seconds left. And yeah, they were up by 7. And they and Texas Tech scored. They did everything. 2 3-pointers, turned it over. Foul. They had LSU had 12 points in the last, I believe, minute. And Texas Tech was ranked, I think they were ranked 15th or 10th. I mean, they're a gritty team. They're a very, very good team. And LSU, they just fell apart. I mean, it was just inexplicable. So that was sort of heartbreaking. It's probably. Well, they didn't defend on the 3. On an inbound pass, they didn't defend on the 3. They turned the ball over twice. After Texas Tech hit a 3-pointer to pull within 1, they threw the inbound pass after the make to Texas Tech, and they scored a layup, and they went up by 1. They came back down again. They missed a shot. Texas Tech scored, I think, 2 more times. So it ended up being a 12-0 run in the last minute. So it was 40. Yeah. So I think it was just, man, it was just brutal. It was probably one of the worst disappointing loss in LSU history. But they have a fatal flaw. They had, Darius Days had fouled out, and their other starter fouled out. But I think the problem with LSU, much like the Pelicans, we have similar problems. They do not have a point guard who can penetrate, because they got they just don't have a lot of great teams that win at the end. When the Pelicans, or the time the Hornets had Chris Paul, we won a lot of games in the last minute because you'd have somebody who'd be able to penetrate and then kick and get that easy basket. With LSU,
basketball. You're going to have somebody that's not going to do something stupid with the ball.
Well, yeah. I mean, I think as we, LSU doesn't have anybody who's a true point guard. They saw it play out on the perimeter, and they can't kick and they can't penetrate and kick it out and shoot. Same thing with the Pelicans. They don't have a real true point guard. They have a bunch of shooting guards who don't penetrate, and if they're not hitting the 3-pointer, they're not going to. That's the whole key. If they're hitting the 3-pointer, they'll win. If they're not, they're going to lose. And so it was just one of those. It was just tough. But I think with LSU, you had Javonte Smart. He's really a 2 guard, and he's bringing the ball up point, and then they have Cam Thomas, could be a superstar, but he's a 2 guard. And a couple of years ago when LSU had, they had who's it, Trey, the point guard who would LSU won a lot of games at the end because you were able to penetrate and kick it out, or penetrate and kick it to get a easy layup. But I think that's a fatal flaw of LSU. I think may make the NCAA. They may make tournament. They may even win a game possibly, but they just don't have a true point guard. That's the same with the Pelicans. Pelicans started out fast last night. Let's see, they beat 2 nights ago. They beat Milwaukee. Milwaukee's got one of the best records in the East. And then they came back against Houston. They started fast. They were up by 12 in I think first and second quarter, and they collapsed after that. But also the Pelicans, if they're not hitting the 3-point shot to open up the middle, there's nobody to penetrate at this point. You know, you don't have a Chris Paul.
The Pelicans don't have that alpha dog. You know, they every team in the league, you know, you got your Johnson, you got your LeBron, you got your Harden. You know, all these guys are the guy. You know, I'm going to give it to you, and you're going to do the right thing with the ball. You're going to, you know, drive it dish. You're going to shoot. We're going to set you up. And the Pelicans don't have that. You know, Brandon Ingram's a great shooter, great player, but I don't think he has the leadership skills. You know, and I think they were hoping to get a little bit out of Redick for that.
Oh, Redick's hitting. Yeah, he's not even. I don't think he's shooting 30%. Yeah. So he's
but I'm just talking about the leadership, you know, and I think bringing Adams in helped, you know, but he's just been around a long time. He's not a guy, because it's a very young team, and he's not a guy that's going to take control of a game, and that's really what we don't have. And the teams that are successful in the NBA have that kind of player. And look, Anthony Davis was not that type of player. Anthony Davis was a great player, but he wasn't the guy that's going to get in the huddle and say, "Give me the ball. I want to go win this game."
Well, yeah.
Yeah. And so, you know, and now he's got LeBron that's still that guy, and that's why they're successful, because they have somebody that is, you know, but LeBron's game has stepped up tremendously because he doesn't think he has to do it all anymore.
Well,
so he's looking for triple doubles now, you know, and not just to score 40.
See, I think the key, it's just me, which is my opinion. This is a lawyer on Sunday morning, which is worth nothing when it comes to basketball. But my opinion is you need a good point guard. And like when the Pelicans were successful, we had Chris Paul at the end of the game who can. No, that's why we didn't have successful. I mean, I think we had two guards. We didn't have a true one playing. Now the Pelicans did pick Kira Lewis, who's a rookie out of Alabama. He's probably, you know, he probably will have a redshirt year this year. But Nicaud. He is Nickel Alexander-Walker. He's a 2 guard. He's a great shooter, but I mean, he does some penetration. He's not your true port. He's sort of a hybrid. He's much like Drew Holiday. He's a hybrid 1-2. He's good. Now he's good, and I think he's going to get a lot of playing time, because I think a guy like Redick, you know, Drew Brees, once you hit a certain age, which he's 37, when your skills diminish or drop off, they drop off a cliff. And I think he's shooting under 30% from the 3-point line. And that's why they have him as a 3-point line. He's 37 years old, been in the league for 15 years. So, you know, he's good, but it's just, you know, the Father Time is, you know, catching up with him a little bit. Yeah. Yeah, yes. He's in there for 18 minutes, you know, see if he can pick up, you know, spread out the defense. But so, you know, LSU had 2 years ago, when they were doing so well and won SEC, they had Tremont Waters, who is, I think, with the Celtics now. And he could penetrate. He could and make a lot of easy shots. Now, if you have 5 guys playing on the perimeter, the whole key is whether you make 3-point shots. Now, you're going to be hot on 3-point shots once every 4 games. The other 3 games is just going to be average at best, 1 out of 4 or 5. And you'll win that 1 out of 4 or 5 game like they get against the Bucks. But when you're not hitting from 3-point, and then you hit, if you have a point guard who can go in, make penetration, get a few easy baskets, or even dish to get a lot of easy baskets for your men, for your big men. I think that's a difference. So LSU this year, they got 5 great players, 6 or 7 great, really good players, but they're not playing as a team, and no point guard. And I think Pelicans probably are going to go away from. They'll probably keep Bledsoe. They're going to they got to decide what they want to do with Ball, because he's maddening. He is maddening. Yeah. He scored 25 points the other night. He was fantastic, and then he disappears the next game, which
and turns the ball over.
right. And he's not a true point guard either. Again, he's sort of a hybrid, and so I think the Pelicans probably will start going to their younger guards because that's the future. But also too, Matt Stafford will not be a New Orleans Saint.
Right.
So the LA Rams went full Super Bowl on that one. A couple of first-round picks, a third-round pick, and Jared Goff, which they were glad to offload because I think Jared Goff's cap number is bigger than Stafford's. So I think the Rams are now suddenly the number 1 Super Bowl contender in the NFC next year. But I think Jameis Winston's going to be our starter this time next in September.
Just for financial.
Cap reasons, no question.
Yeah.
All right, I guess we'll talk. Well, I have a few topics I want to talk about. One is about
Let's get back to it.
So all right, so this is Doug Sunseri, Albert Nicaud, your weekend lawyers, all things legal. We'll be right back after this brief timeout.
This year, we've seen a whirlwind of change and, unfortunately, new strains of coronavirus. This is new normal. Crisis is a scary thing, but the way through a storm is to remain steady. That's where we come in, to keep you informed about the latest on COVID-19 and available vaccines, how to get financial help for your business or family, to have honest conversations about challenges in our community and country. Join me, and you can count on me, and let's keep it real weekdays 10 to 1 on WWL.
Does learning a language feel like this? No habla español? Hablo. It's hablo? It's hablo. Bon dia. Like good day, good morning, I think.
I can say, je m'appelle David, but that's probably it.
When you learn a language, you want to actually use it. Babbel is designed with that goal in mind.
This year is my year to get fluent in Spanish, and Babbel is definitely going to help me do that. The app is so easy to use, and it's so practical. It helps you learn things that you will actually need.
Since my husband is from Guatemala, I'll apply what I've learned in Babbel to our real-life situations.
I've tried other language learning apps, and nothing really stuck. Babbel's been a complete game changer for me.
Hoy es miércoles y el clima está muy bueno afuera.
Estoy con fome, pero no tomé café de mañana.
Je suis des États-Unis et du Lyon too.
Babbel, language for life, celebrating 10 million subscriptions sold. Now try Babbel for free at Babbel.com. Just go to Babbel.com and start learning a new language today. That's Babbel.com, Babbel.com.
If you or a loved one are suffering from addiction, listen to Springfield Wellness Center's founder, Paula Norris Metayer.
We help people through their detox with minimal withdrawal symptoms. Even though it's a 10-day treatment, I look at the first 4 or 5 days as the brain restoration piece. And when the brain restoration piece turns on, that's when we have patients go, wow, a light bulb turned on or a switch was turned on. All of a sudden, their prefrontal cortex is working for them, and their midbrain is also working. They're not craving. They're thinking clearly, they see things clearly, and they have more confidence.
Put your addiction behind you. Call Springfield Wellness Center, 504-291-4000.
Just call us, that's all, and we'll be waiting for you.
504-291-4000, 291-4000. Springfield Wellness Center, springfieldwellnesscenter.com.
Smoked tender duck, seasoned, then pan-broiled in a sizzling skillet, topped with our crawfish mushroom cream sauce. That's our blackened Bayou duck, only at Bobby Hebert's Cajun Cannon Restaurant. Food so good you just can't stop thinking about it. Imagine perfectly grilled ahi tuna topped with our famous barbecue shrimp. Get your leg fillet tuna today, only at Bobby Hebert's Cajun Cannon Restaurant.
Let NOLA Protection improve the security of your business by keeping your property, customers, and employees safe. NOLA Protection is the local choice for security personnel and equipment. Give them a call at 504-577-2323 or on the web at nolaprotection.com.
Brent Ollie here, Premium Windows, professionally measured, professionally installed, reliefwindows.com.
Diabetes, high blood pressure.
This is the last spot.
Everyone's
Thank you.
You're a 50-year-old male, maybe a bit porky, and you may even have type 2 diabetes. $1 million of term insurance may only cost you about $200 a month. Call Term Provider. Speak with Big Lou at 800-555-1509. Big Lou will find a term life policy for you even if you have type 2 diabetes, are overweight, or have high blood pressure. Term Providers help thousands of people like you who think they can't afford term life insurance. To buy $1 million of affordable term life for you, all you need to do is call Big Lou at 800-555-1509. Lou will make sure the scales are tipped in your favor. Call 800-555-1509. Big Lou will answer your call and work to fit you into a term life policy that you can afford. Remember, Big Lou's like you. He's on meds too. Call 800-555-1509. 800-555-1509.
It's WWL and all things legal with Albert Nicaud and Doug Sunseri. Join us on the WWL Talk and Text line, 504-260-1870.
Hey, we're back. Doug Sunseri, Albert Nicaud, your weekend lawyers, all things legal. Albert, there's a trend since the as we would say in Bucktown, the COVID is societal trends, habits change, and one of the habits that are changing are people are investing more money in their home and less money because there's less money for travel, eating out, but they still have a desire to entertain. And so a lot of people are adding to their house. If you go around, there's a lot of people who are doing a lot of additions, and a lot of people doing outdoor kitchens, which is sort of a deal because people want to go out to eat, and they can have people over without some bureaucrat wagging their finger at them, and sort of have things the way they would feel comfortable doing things. And so I'm also seeing, and I just had this last week, somebody called and said, I'm doing an addition on my house. I gave the contractor $80,000. It's a $130,000 job. It's not in writing, but we have a disagreement as to, woodwork is, the $80,000 covered, and, woodwork is to be completed. And so I know you talk a lot about this, but like if you're doing a outdoor kitchen, or you're doing some type of renovation for your house, or you're adding to it so that your home will be more entertainment friendly because you're not going out as much, and you just don't shake hands with a remodeler or a contractor and say, hey, let's have at it. So what are some of the things that a homeowner can do who must maybe do outdoor kitchen remodel, add extra room, given the fact that they're probably home more?
Yeah, the first thing you obviously want to do is a little background check. Don't even take a referral from a friend. Those are wonderful, and those are great. But you can go to a website, Louisiana State Board for Contractors, and then it says search for contractors tab, and make sure that person is licensed. It's a very simple step. Make sure his company or the person that you're dealing with has a license. Secondly, you want to make sure that it's in your contract that all of the trades, everything will be inspected, and permits will be filed, and they'll all be inspected. Your plumbing, your heating, your air conditioning, your electricity, everything is going to be filed and inspected by the parish. The next thing you want to do is put some language in the contract that states that all subcontractors required by law to be licensed shall be licensed, which means that your foundation contractor by law has to be licensed. Your framing contractor has to be licensed. Your roofing contractor, your stucco contractor
Now that's,
means he has,
yeah, go ahead, finish up. I got a question for you.
sure they have, right?
Yeah. Now,
So, that doesn't mean you're gonna get great, work, because they got guys probably that are not licensed that can perform great work. What it's going to do is it's gonna make sure at least that you're covered, you're legal. Anyone that has a home builder's, not a certificate, but a home builder's license, they have to take a test. They have to take a test on code. They have to take, so it's more than just sign your name, get your license, right? So you had a question or comment?
yeah, well, I guess one of the misconceptions is if you have a contractor who's licensed, some people believe that you don't need subs who are licensed. And so, and I mean, it's probably pretty obvious to be able to determine, if a sub's licensed, if, there's a lot of external factors that would make that very apparent. I'll leave it at that without getting in trouble.
Correct. We're suing somebody right now. The guy's a licensed contractor. He's been building homes for 30 years. And the house has numerous defects. And we started doing some digging. Well, the foundation contractor, the roofing contractor, the framing contractor, none of them were licensed. So he's just got these jacklegs out there doing it as cheap as he can get it. And when I talk to guys who are licensed, they said, look, when you're licensed, you've got to show proof of insurance. You've got to maintain your license. You have some duties to the board that you have to comply with. And so, it's probably a 20 or 30% hit that I got to take because I've got to pay for the license, pay for the insurance, pay for the workers' comp. And, you've got to be sure that all of those folks have that insurance to make sure that you're covered. And part of that is, if you're licensed, they have to have it.
Well, the legitimate, I'll say the compliant contractors don't, feel at a disadvantage because they follow the rules. And there is probably a 20 or 30% markup for following the rules. And then they have maybe contractors who are unlicensed using unlicensed or even, undocumented workers who can undercut the price. And, that's sort of, now, also too, you go ahead. Go ahead.
Is you can have, as you know, I'm the attorney for the State Board of Home Inspectors, right? I know a lot of those guys that perform home inspections, and 99% of home inspections are performed in relation to resale of residential property. And so, when you go to buy a house, you get it inspected before you purchase it, right? But they also inspect new homes, and they can do it in stages. So they'll go do a framing inspection, and they'll grab the architectural plans, and they'll go up in the attic, and they'll look at, if this was not framed according to plan, or this was not done right, or this was not supported right. Or they'll put their stamp of approval on it and say, yes, it was, it's good to go on to the next step. And so those kinds of things help you, and you might spend another $500, $600, $700 to get that done. But it will help you in the long run because it's going to show, as the stages of the house are completed, they're going to come in and say, yeah, look, they did this right, they did that right, they did this right.
Now, also too, if you're doing a small renovation, let's say like an outdoor kitchen, which, may go anywhere from, $10,000 to $100,000, anywhere in between. Should you still do a contract, even though it's maybe not a large renovation?
You want a contract for anything. What am I paying for? How much up front? What are you going to do? Give me your scope of work. Because what always happens is you really have an agreement with somebody, right? You kind of know what you want. They know what you want. Oh, yeah, look, on the way in, they're saying, yeah, man, I got it. We're going to take care of this. We'll have you totally finished. You're going to love it. Well, next thing you know, oh, wait a minute, I'm not supposed to put that in. You got to get somebody else to do that. Or I didn't talk about appliances. You're going to have to put appliances in. You're going to have to do. So make sure all of those things are done up front. How many outlets your job? Well, I wasn't supposed to do that, or I wasn't supposed to use this, I was supposed to use that.
Let me ask you this. Let me ask you this. What about timelines, and how do you deal with timelines on both sides as far as the time of, should you put a timeline in a contract, and what are some legitimate reasons that the time, what the consequences of not having that timeline complied with? And we'll talk about that after the break. And also, some of the, I guess,
Yeah, we can talk about completion dates, things like
okay.
that.
All right. So let's go to a break. Doug Sunseri, Albert, Nicaud, your weekend lawyers, all things legal. We'll be right back after this brief timeout.
Every Saints fan knows it's always Saints season. Whether you live in New Orleans, the Gulf South, anywhere in the country, you know we breathe, eat, and dream black and gold football. That's why every Tuesday evening at 7, Bobby Hebert and Christian Garrett host the Saints Hour on the Community Coffee Saints Radio Network. We drill down on the latest Saints news and interviews and feature guests with deep connections to the team. If you love Saints football, then that's everybody, right? Keep it locked on the
Nobody on the phone yet.
Yes. Gotcha.
WWL.
It all starts with just one thing. This year, resolve to recycle more. Start with paper, bottles, and cans. Recycle old clothes by donating them to charity. And recycle electronics at e-waste facilities. Find tips and more at onethingus.com. What's your one thing?
Mardi Gras 2021 may be a little different, but the spirit lives on. Join Intercom New Orleans and University of Holy Cross as we celebrate the love of Mardi Gras.
What do I love most about Mardi Gras? That's gotta be all the time I get to spend with my friends. I live only a few blocks off of the parade route, so my house is kind of like the meeting place for everyone. We go up to the parade route, set up our chairs and ladders on the neutral ground, and then all day long it's back and forth between the parades and my house for food and drink refills. Yeah, I'm gonna miss Mardi Gras a lot this year, but kind of a reminder of how special Mardi Gras and this place we call home really are.
The spirit of the season is still rolling. Happy Mardi Gras from Intercom New Orleans and University of Holy Cross. Do good, do well.
At the University of Holy Cross, we love transfer students. Enjoy a 10-to-1 student-teacher ratio at the university that specializes in just one subject. You transfer to the University of Holy Cross in New Orleans. Do good, do well.
We're Tammy and Phil, and this is our life with California Closets.
Since we downsized, we needed a company like California Closets to come in and utilize what little space we had.
Our master closet is pretty spectacular.
People come in, they comment on it. So I guess that's a good thing, but they really like it. When you open the door and the light pops up, it's like, whoa.
I think that's his favorite feature of all.
Schedule your free design consultation today at CaliforniaClosets.com.
Locally owned and operated.
Progressive presents The Sounds of the Old World.
The year is 2019, and someone is waiting for the previews to start in a movie theater.
Hey, you want anything? Popcorn? Soda? No, nothing?
This has been The Sounds of the Old World.
Brought to you by Progressive, where drivers can still switch and save like it's 2019.
Quote today at Progressive.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates.
If I'm not commuting anymore, where do I really want to live?
While you handle life's questions, Merrill Guided Investing helps you manage your portfolio and invest for your next move with the option to work with an advisor at a low cost and minimum. Merrill, a Bank of America company. Visit merrilledge.com/investing goals to get started today.
Investing involves risk. Merrill Lynch Pierce Federal Smith Incorporated, both a registered broker-dealer and investment advisor, member SIPC. Investment products are not FDIC insured or not bank guaranteed and may lose value.
If you're building a new home or buying a new home from a builder, you need to be aware of Louisiana's New Home Warranty Act. It sets forth strict deadlines to make claims against the builder for defects in construction. If you don't provide the builder with proper notice, you can lose your right to make a claim. This is Albert Nicaud with the Nicaud and Sunseri Law Firm in Metairie. Call me at 504-837-1304 as soon as you discover a defect. Better yet, call me before you sign your construction contract and let me make sure you're protected.
Find inspiration in timeless stories of sacrifice and resilience. Find inspiration in little victories and Herculean tasks. In facing trying times together and overcoming the odds as one. The National World War II Museum in New Orleans is now open, so you can find inspiration in all of these places, and especially within yourself. Visit national.museum.org for timed tickets and safety information.
Progressive makes bundling easy and affordable. Get a multi-policy discount by combining your car, home, motorcycle, commercial auto, and more. All your protection in one place. Bundle and save at progressive.com.
Back to WWL and all things legal with attorneys Doug Sunseri and Albert Nicaud. Connect on the WWL talk and text line 504-260-1870.
Hey, we're back. Doug Sunseri, Albert Nicaud, your weekend lawyers, all things legal. Albert, we were talking a little bit about some of the trends in getting a little feedback here. Some of the trends about since COVID, as far as a lot of people investing in their home because they're not maybe taking vacations and doing some other activities that they normally do, or entertainment type activities, so they want to bring the activities to their home. And one of the things that people are doing putting outdoor kitchens or additions to the house to make it more entertainment friendly. And we're talking a little bit about the fact that when you do hire a contractor, you want to have a contract, and we're talking about completion dates. And what are some of the provisions you could put in a contract for renovation to make sure that it gets done on time, and what would be the consequences that you could put in the contract if it doesn't?
So what you do is you talk to your contractor on the front end, and you say, realistically, how long is this going to take? From start to finish, assuming everything goes well, and maybe even a couple of little hiccups. And they will give you an answer. They're going to give you an answer that you probably want to hear. That we can get it done 3 weeks. We get, depending on the scope of the work, right? So, well, look, how about if I gave you an extra week or two, and we put a completion date in the contract, and then if you don't finish it by that date, then we get what's called liquidated damage. It's going to start costing you, depending on the value of the job, it's going to start costing you $300 a day, $150 a day, $200 a day, whatever y'all can come up with. And that might scare them off a little bit, but it's going to let them know that, hey, look, I got a deadline, and I'm going to get to your work first. I'm not going to send my guys to 5 different other jobs and then, let you sit around with your backyard all torn up if you're doing an outdoor kitchen, or worse than that, your interior of your home all torn up. So make sure that, you have some protection with a nice little hammer at the end. And of course, like anything, it's all negotiable, right? Well, now we'll do $100 a day. We'll do whatever. And you want to just make sure that they understand that it's important that you get this done.
We got a text from Kevin who said one of the first and easiest threshold to determine whether the contractors are properly insured is to ask for insurance certificates where they name each other's additional insurance. He indicated that his last 2 guys volunteered those insurance certificates up front to put that issue to rest. So
you want to make sure and look for the workers' comp insurance, look for both the workers' comp and the general liability insurance.
Now, we had an interesting case, and back not too long ago, where a contractor actually gave a false insurance certificate and a false license. Work was done on the home. It was a hardworking couple in the city who took their retirement investment and invested it in rental property. That was their 401k, and they had a undocumented worker say he got hurt, and they sued the contractor. The contractor didn't have insurance, wasn't licensed, so the homeowner ended up defending the claim. And the workers' comp claim, and he'd indicated that he'd fallen off a roof. Now there was a question on how many roofs has he fallen over, and whether that whether that roof was one of the roofs that he did follow up on, just based on when we got his medical records. He had multiple names, multiple social security numbers, and multiple dates of accident. But that was another issue. But you know, the homeowner had to defend that case, and then ended up had to pay some money out to get rid of the claim. But you know, the homeowner, if you're not insured properly, the homeowner is going to be responsible for it if anything happens there. And if somebody gets hurt, that could be substantial.
Yeah, no, it's not absolutely. Insurance is very important. You want to be named on the policy and be a certificate holder. So in other words, if it's a long project that's going to take some time, you know, 8, 10, 12 months, you want to be a certificate holder. And what that means is the insurance company will notify you in the event of any changes or lapses of coverage. And so, you know, they all of a sudden reduce their limits, or they change their coverage to something else, or it lapses. Then the insurance company will notify you, hey, look, they don't have insurance. And so you can get back on, you know, get back to the contract and say, I need a certificate of insurance or you're off the job.
Before we go to our next break in a couple minutes, just talk a little bit about progress payments and how is that addressed in the contract.
Again, that's usually negotiated ahead of time as well. If it's financed, the bank a lot of times will, you know, kind of get involved with that contract and make sure that the contractor is not too far ahead of the homeowner. And the homeowner should do the same thing. Make sure that the contractor is not too far ahead of him. Meaning that, you know, we're going to give you a little bit up front once you sign it, but then we're going to have, you know, let's say you're building a new home. When the foundation is poured, we're going to give you X amount. When the framing is complete, and the windows are in, and the roof is, you know, the roof is wrapped, you know, it's called blacked in. When it's blacked in, we're going to give you X. And then just kind of give you an idea. Let the contractor give you a schedule of values, how much they anticipate paying for the foundation, for the framing, for this, for that. And so then you have a good idea of what these things are going to cost. Because if there's a dispute between you and the homeowner, you and the contractor, you don't want to be so far into him where he's got a substantial amount of your money, and then you terminate it, and now you have the burden of having to go get your money back. And so, you know, you've got to go sue and get your money back. Instead of, if you're, you know, about even or maybe even a little ahead of him, like, I'm holding back these last few payments until you're done. You know, and always hold back 10% at the end for punch list items, for corrective items, you know, and what happens is if the contractor reaches what's called substantial completion, basically the home is capable of being lived in, it meets its purpose, but there's some minor little defects or some punch list items that need to be completed, then you've got to get him incentive to come back to the job. You know, to finish up, look, the hardware is not right, or the doors, cabinet doors are crooked, or, you know, just these little minor items you didn't finish, the garden lights, or whatever the case may be. And those types of things are more likely to get done if you're holding 10% of the contract, and then he'll come in and get it all finished so he can collect that money. But if he's already been paid in full, good luck. You know, you're relying on his good name, et cetera, et cetera. And the problem with contractors, so many of them, they have a cell phone in the truck. You know, so if you go file suit against them, you know, they shut their business down.
Or they open up under another name.
You know?
Or a lot of times they open up under another name and have a little insulation from that.
Which the contractors board's been pretty keen on, and they're, you know, if you say something to them, say, hey, look, this guy did X, Y, Z to me, and now he's opened up in a new name, they'll investigate and possibly shut it down. So, and look, you contractors out there, listen, because you know, if you form an LLC and you perform some act that is against the law, right? For instance, not hiring licensed subcontractors said he filed for a permit. He told the homeowner, oh, absolutely. He had text messages showing that he said that. Well, he didn't. So what happened was they filed suit against his LLC and they filed suit against him personally. And the Court of Appeals said, yeah, you're going to misrepresent something and you're going to violate the law, which, doing this type of work without a license, without a permit is against the law. Then we're going to let him go, let the plaintiffs go after you personally, and we're going to pierce the veil of the LLC. So, contractors beware, be very careful. You want to do things by the book. And the more people that do it by the book are going to, make it a better place for us to all have contracting work done. And, it levels the playing field in terms of the costs.
Okay. All right. I hear the music. Let's go to a break. Doug Sunseri, Albert Nicaud, your weekend lawyers, all things legal. On until 10 o'clock. We'll be right back after this brief time out.
Doug loves his versatile new Toyota RAV4. It lets him do all the things he loves to do. But what does Bo, Doug's dog, think about it? We hired a dog whisperer to find out.
Okay, let's start. He says he loves the new ride.
Really?
You'll have 4 minutes till the top of the hour. Hands-free liftgate.
That's very specific.
He wants to take the RAV4 camping. He finds the lack of squirrels to chase it home unacceptable.
Okay.
He asks why you didn't take him bungee jumping last weekend.
Because he's, a dog?
Just because he sleeps in a crate, don't put him in a box. He wants to bungee jump.
Seriously?
He'll forgive you for a cookie. Sorry, Bo. 2 cookies.
Oh, come on. The new RAV4, man and dog's new best friend.
Get $1,000 customer cash, or qualified lessees can lease a new 2021 RAV4 LE for only $249 a month for 36 months for $29.99 new inside. Toyota, let's go places. See packages and options at Toyota.com for feature availability. Visit buyatoyota.com for details. Offers available in select states and 2121.
At Mike Brenner Injury Attorneys, we know that car wrecks don't take the weekends off, and neither do we. If you've been hurt in a wreck over the weekend, don't wait until Monday to get the help you need right now. We have people standing by, ready to take your call, ready to give you free advice, and ready to help you get the medical attention you need. You don't have to wait until Monday to call an attorney. In a wreck, need a check? Call me, Mike Brander. We're the 24/7 injury attorneys, and we're available to get you the help you need right now.
Get the reliability and superior power of a Yamaha outboard at Boat Stuff. You'll get 5 years of warranty protection or up to $1,500 in dealer credit. Get additional savings on Boat Stuff's high-performance boats, including Avid, Blue Wave, and Vexus, all powered by Yamaha outboards with 5 years of warranty protection. Make no waves about it. This offer ends March 2nd, so get your Yamaha outboard from Boat Stuff in Slidell, Harvey, Port Sulphur, and Hammond, or at boatstuff.com.
At Community Coffee, we've been making great tasting coffee for over 100 years. But what makes us different isn't just how long we've been around, it's how far we're willing to go in pursuit of the perfect cup. We select only the finest beans and use over 4 generations of family roasting experience to give you the richest, most delicious coffee around. Find Community Coffee at your local grocery store or visit communitycoffee.com to order some today.
Does learning a language feel like this?
No habla español? Hablo. ¿Es hablo? It's hablo. Bon dia, like good day, good morning, I think.
I can say, je m'appelle David, but that's probably it.
When you learn a language, you want to actually use it. Babbel is designed with that goal in mind.
This year is my year to get fluent in Spanish, and Babbel is definitely going to help me do that. The app is so easy to use, and it's so practical. It helps you learn things that you will actually need. Since my husband is from Guatemala, I'll apply what I've learned in Babbel to our real-life situations. I've tried other language learning apps, and nothing really stuck. Babbel's been a complete game changer for me. Hoy es miércoles y el clima está muy bueno afuera. Estoy con fome. No tomé café de mañana.
Je suis des États-Unis et du Lyon too.
Babbel, language for life.
How long are we going to
10
have,
million subscriptions
Doug?
sold. Now try Babbel for free at Babbel.
Yeah, 4 minutes.
Just go to
Okay.
Babbel.com and start learning a new language today. That's Babbel.com.
Last spot coming up.
BEL.com.
Maybe it's time to take a fresh look at everything we thought we knew about landing a great job. For instance, perhaps great careers start at the middle school science fair instead of at the job fair. Because the fact is, the jobs of the future will be heavily geared towards science, technology, engineering, and math. In other words, STEM. So if you're a student, talk to your school counselor about STEM. If you're a parent, talk to your kids. Public service message from America's Navy.
Now, more All Things Legal, paid for by Nicaud and Sunseri Law Firm. All advice given and opinions shared are solely those of attorneys Albert Nicaud and Doug Sunseri. Back to WWL.
Hey, we're back. Doug Sunseri, Albert Nicaud, your weekend lawyers, all things legal. We were talking about 3 minutes before the national news and local news. We sort of spoke this hour about, a lot of people doing renovations because COVID, they're not going out, so they're entertaining at home, wanted to make their home a little more entertainment friendly. And, we've got about 3 minutes, and Albert's been talking about, if you have a deal to have a renovation, with some of the things you should do with contractors. Anything else, Albert, in the last couple of minutes you think, as far as listeners?
If you're building a new home, it's a totally different ballgame
Yeah.
Than a renovation. But if you're building a new home, you want to consider the New Home Warranty Act. They got some radio spots on that. But basically, with the New Home Warranty Act, there are a lot of things that the Act excludes that you would not believe that it excludes. For instance, driveways, sidewalks, consequential damages. They have to come back and it takes a month for them to come fix the defect that they, meaning the contractor, created. You're not entitled to additional living expenses to go live somewhere else and move into a hotel or whatever while they're doing that. And so those are the kinds of things that you could have excluded from the contract in the front end, or watered down to some degree. And so you really need to meet with an attorney and go over your new home contract. I just reviewed one this week, as a matter of fact, and it's just extremely contractor friendly. And listen, I represent a lot of contractors, and it's a negotiation, and at the end of the day, it's pretty fair to both parties. And that way it's a level playing field going in, and when it is a level playing field, it's less likely a chance for disputes arising that can't be resolved, because you've got a document that's going to give you the roadmap as to how to get it resolved.
All right, so it's probably a good idea, especially even if you just take an hour or so, just to take a look at an agreement for a new house or a renovation, and bring it to an attorney and have them sort of tighten it up for you, because I've heard a renovation or construction contract has been defined as a series of catastrophes that end in a finished product. That's one definition I've heard by a lawyer. So so it's just a lot. It's a lot of moving parts, and it's so you just want to get it all together. All right, with hour number one is in the can. We're here till 10 o'clock, so we'll be back for hour number two. We'll talk about elections and consequences and how the law may affect the law next week.
The views and advice expressed were not that of WWL or Intercom Louisiana LLC. Assessing a person's legal matter often requires extensive interviews, review of contracts and documents, and research of the current state of the law and the issues involved. As a result, the information provided by the attorneys and guests of All Things Legal is given for informational purposes only. It is not to be construed as legal, tax, investment, or other professional advice. Communications with the attorneys on this program, whether verbal or digital, do not create an attorney-client relationship.
Home of the New Orleans Saints and LSU Fighting Tiger Sports. 870 AM WWL New Orleans. 105.3 WWL FM and HD1 Kenner New Orleans. A radio.com sports station.
on the hour. Your home for original reporting.
I'm Wendy Gillette. It was a dangerous night for those still on the roads in much of the Midwest as heavy snow fell.